Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar on Director Amendment and Change of Conduct Details. My name is Simon Fenyan from Corporate Unit, and I'll be your facilitator for today's session. We'll address questions related to today's topic that are submitted on the comments section. For any queries not related to this matter, please send your inquiries to the email addresses listed or published on the CIPC website. Joining us in the studio today is Mr. Vuyani Nkotla, the Senior Manager for Director Members and Practitioners. He will be doing the presentation and addressing your questions after the session. We are also joined by Mr. Tebogo Masakale from our ICT unit, who will be conducting the demonstration. Please note the recording of this webinar will remain available on both Facebook and YouTube for you to revisit at your convenience. And then I'll now hand over to Mr. Nkotla. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Mr. Fenyane, for a kind introduction. Yes, I'm going to present on director amendments and the change of contact details. My presentation, it's going to be a high-level presentation because we have been presenting on director amendments as well as the change of contact details. However, this is triggered by some of the inquiries that we normally receive, and we just need to bring context in terms of how these things are done and what informs them and what triggers the process. And thereafter, I have invited my colleague who's going to do a demo because there are some people that they would call us and they want to know exactly where they are supposed to click, where they are supposed to type the information. So that is the purpose of this. And then thereafter, as it has been said, we are available to take questions and answers based on the presentation that we're going to do. So having said that, I'm going to start with my presentation, and for the sake of focus, I'm going to switch off the video so that we can all focus on the presentation. So the director amendments, I wanted just to maybe give context and also to draw parallel in terms of our process, that there are two sets of requirements that we need to look into. There are processing requirements, which are administrative processes, and also there are legal requirements. And it is very important for us to note that the filing of director amendments, it is not something that is discussed with CIPC, because most people, they will contact us and say, please help me, how do we do this? And this is informed by the Section 70, subsection 6, as well as the regulations 39 of the Companies Act. In a nutshell, Section 70, subsection 6 states that a company must file a notice of a change of directors where somebody becomes a director or somebody ceases to be a director. And that must be filed with the commission within 10 business days. So that is a requirement, a legal requirement that is expected from a company, that he must file when there are changes within 10 business days. And we all know that the Companies Act is law, and any contravention, then it means it's a non-compliance. So companies, they need to understand this. And I hope that we do have directors here. We also have probably members of CCs, and I hope we also have the third parties, people that submit on behalf of companies, because we know that there are people that are submitting. This talks to the company, and it's not talking to whether the previous people that were assisting the company did not file or whatever. This is talking to the responsibility that is bestowed to the company in terms of the Companies Act and what the directors are supposed to ensure that this does happen. Secondly, is that the changing of contact details, it is not a legislated process, but it's an administrative process which aims at facilitating the registration processes in terms of change of directors. We provide people with OTPs. Also, when it comes to the change of names, there are OTPs that we communicate to the directors and so forth. So this is an administrative process. Hence, you would not find on our forms, which is a normal SOR 39 form, which is on the regulation, you won't find a space there for contact details. So this is an administrative process. And we need to understand that as a commission, we function not in isolation. We know that the world has changed. Now things are done. There's a lot of digitalization that is taking place. Hence, it is important that in order to fast track the process, we need to have the contact details so that we communicate. So that is administrative process. Section 187 of the Companies Act details the functions of the commission. And one of the functions detailed there in subsection 4 states that the commission must receive and deposit in the registry any documents required to be filed. Now, the onus is on the company to file any documents, and when those documents are sent to us, we must receive them and we must deposit them in the registry. As long as those documents, they comply with the administrative process of registration. So if the administrative process of registration is complied with, meaning that you must submit, and this is the process that must be followed for submission, and those things are followed. And if the process detailed what supporting documents must be attached, those things are followed, then that's what happens. CIPC does not reject the resolutions that are taken by the company. All that CIPC does, it rejects the filing because it does not meet the requirements. CIPC does not appoint a director, but CIPC receives and deposits. So it is the company that appoints, it is the company that resigns, it is the company, but CIPC just follows the administrative process and ensure that the legal requirements, where necessary, are being followed. Now, since time immemorial, we know that the commission, even the registrar, has been accepting documents that are filed based on trust. We're not sitting in any boards. We do not know whether the meetings took place, but the documents that are filed with CIPC at face value are taken as a documentary evidence of the process that the company has followed. So it is very important that then the company ensures that they file the documents that represent the true reflection of what has happened, because it is an offense in terms of the Companies Act to knowingly file the incorrect information. So in terms of the citizens and the role players, they also place too much reliance on the registries of the commission. And to a large extent, they think that CIPC is the one that is responsible for the appointment and the resignations of directors, which is not the case. However, CIPC also takes a stand in terms of ensuring that documents that are filed, they comply. However, we're not responsible who must be appointed and who must resign and who must be removed. Now, as I've mentioned, Section 70, subsection 6 says every company must file a notice. I think that what is important, and for my own emphasis, is that it is every company. We know that there are people that are filing on behalf of companies, and there are people that are representing individuals within companies. But CIPC or the commission is the custodian of companies. And our focus is on companies, and the companies must do what is expected from them in terms of the Companies Act. So if there are changes, the company must do this, and the company is managed by directors, and therefore the board of directors, which is the majority of the board, must ensure that these things do take place. When there are changes, they are filed, and then they are filed within the prescribed period of time. If the board decides for whatever reason that they would want third parties to file on their behalf, it is very important that such should be then confirmed by a valid authority to do so in the form of a power of attorney or the mandate giving a third party to do that. However, the company is still responsible for compliance. So the relationship between the third party and the company does not affect CIPC. It's between those two parties. CIPC still has a responsibility that it must discharge towards the company because we are responsible for that. So the filing of direct amendments therefore does not belong, it does not begin rather with the filing, but the filing, it is the confirmation of the notice that has been filed. Hence, it is a notice. They notify us of what has happened in the company. Now, recently we have introduced a process of change of contact details. This we have introduced based on a number of reasons. One is that we have realized most companies that have been deregistered in the past, despite the notifications, the SMS that have been sent and everything, people have been complaining that they never received any notification, despite the information that we have on our database saying that these are the contact details. And that has led us to understand that the information that we have might not be the correct one. Secondly, we have observed that there are directors that have been sharing contact details. One director or two directors or three, they have the same contact details, which is a misnomer. And we realized that this was not done correctly. When we asked for contact details of directors, people did not give us contact details of directors. And thirdly, we have seen when there are changes in contact details and we refer the information that people, when they are sort of an application of resignation has been received, they come back and say, we did not know, we realized when we were at the bank that we are no longer directors. And when you look in terms of the process, an OTP was received and was submitted. And the person will say, this is not my contact details. So we introduced that process. And that process was to ensure, number one, that people, they give us the correct details so that we are able to facilitate the communication. And if there's a process, that process is attended to. This is not a South African phenomenon of communication automation. It is an international phenomenon, global phenomenon. We all do things now digital. If you have a cell phone, you have a computer in front of you, you can do as many things as you want. The banks, even if you do a transaction, they will send you an OTP so that you approve or verify that OTP. So we are also following the same process, and we encourage the directors to ensure that they do that. They provide us with their correct details. If they decide that they are going to outsource that process, they must do it with the third parties, not to involve CIPC. They must do it with those ones. And if something is wrong, it's between them. But CIPC ensures that whilst things are still nice, we follow the process, because when things are not going fine, and then people will come back and complain at CIPC, and we don't have control in terms of that. Some people, they give us even the wrong contact details for whatever reason, but they must understand that if that is the case, they're not going to get any information. They're not going to get communication from CIPC. They will not know what is happening in the companies. So that is very important. And also, the issue of contact details helps us in our endeavors to ensure that we address the concerns that were raised by the World Bank in terms of ease of doing business, in terms of faster communication, streamlined processes, and cutting the red tapes. As you can experience now, that when there is a purely appointment or resignation, CIPC, meaning that the back office is not involved in that process. The company appoints a person. When the company has appointed a person, that particular person will receive a notification, and that person, to confirm the appointment, will submit an OTP. It is not a new process, but the way in which it is being done, it is a different process. It's an automated process. And normally what will happen is that the company will appoint a person, will notify a person, and the person will confirm his appointment by sending a letter consenting to his appointment. So this is the same process, but now it has been automated. So the contact details for directors is very important, so that we are able then to follow the process as it is in terms of the Companies Act. We are aware of the unauthorized also change of contact details and the incorrect contact details. And what we have done in that regard, we have established a process where when you do a change of contact details, we send notification to both the new and old number. Because number one, some of these contact details changes are genuine. Probably the cell phone number is no longer in use, or the email address, a person has moved from one organization to another, has a new email address, and so forth. So, so this process addresses that. Secondly, there are people that are doing this change of contact details because of other agendas. So hence we have to communicate to both numbers. And what therefore does is that when we send this notification, it has a link. And this link is to enable the person who does not agree with the change of contact details to reject this particular application. I know in this day and age, we are taught in terms of phishing, and where there is a link, people are told not to click it. But you will realize that when it comes to phishing, when you click the link, it will ask for login details. So this one does not ask for login details because it's not phishing. It's a genuine link coming from CIPC. If you click on that link within 24 hours and reject the application, it does not matter if the first person clicked to accept, but the initial or the principal number, if that number rejects it, it won't go through the changes. But if the principal number decides not to respond and the second number accepts it, after 24 hours, the contact details will be changed. So we plead with the directors, please take cognizance of the information that we sent to you so that you are able to respond urgently. And then we normally hear people asking for manual applications. A director has left. Now he cannot have the contact details and all those things. Our contact details, they go as far as wide as all the countries in the world. As long as you have a cell number, we'll communicate with you. As long as you have an email address, we'll communicate with you. And for the change of directors and any other thing, we need at least one OTP, whether it's an email or it's an SMS. If that cannot be done, there's no manual process, then the company will just have to remove the person because the person is not at work, it's a derelict of duties, is not there. If the person resigned, but the company did not do this thing, and you'll find the person saying, no, it was the previous a company secretary and all those things. The company has the owners. So the company has not complied, they just have to remove the person. And then I think this is the second last slide, which talks about the challenging of documents filed. Now, the Companies Act makes provision for a company. Again, I'm saying a company. That's my emphasis. Makes provision for a company to challenge any filing. This provision is not made for people where there's a dispute, people they fight, they use SOR 168. It's not for individuals, but it's for a company. And the company, loosely, it is the majority of the board or the majority of the shareholders, not individuals, not meant for individuals. So if there's a dispute, we have a companies tribunal for people to deal with disputes there, or they can go to a court of law or to any ADR that they believe that will assist them. So the company can challenge any document filed. Now, the Act does not say they must justify the reasons for challenging. It says they must file. And when they file, they must just detail the transaction or the filing that they're challenging, so that the challenge is specific to that. So when we talk about the filing, we're talking about the entire file. So for an example, if there's one filing where they're appointing X and resigning Y. So when the company challenges, the company cannot say we are challenging the resignation of Y, but leave the appointment of X, because the filing, it's the entire filing. So if you challenge everything. And so whatever that has been challenged and submitted within 10 business days, then that is regarded as nullity and needs to be removed. So the entire then filing will then be retracted or removed, as it were. And the filing of this must be sent to director objections at sapc.co.za using the form COR 168. That brings me to the end of my presentation, and I will then hand over to Mr. Masekela to just do the demo quickly, so that then we can be able to respond to the questions that have been posted. Thank you. Mr. Masakale, so that at least we have probably 15 minutes for question and answers. Okay, whilst we're waiting for Mr. Masakale to connect, let me just respond to the questions that are here. The first one, how do I change shareholding? Shareholding, it's not part of SAPC. So when the company is registered, Tebogo, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Can you see my screen?
Okay, all right. No, it's fine. You can go ahead, then I'll answer later.
All right. So to change contact details, you log on to the CIPC e-services website, navigate to transact and more services. This is the landing page of more services. You are then going to navigate to change contact details. The list of companies where you are a director will be listed. If you are not listed, you are able to search for that enterprise on the right-hand side. So I will do this part of searching. You'll be able to search using the enterprise number, either long format or short format. The results will appear at the bottom of your screen. You would then click on File. When you click on File, an assessment is going to be made on whether your ID, passport, or name matches any of the directors on this company. And if there is no match, you'll get a validation error to say that you are not linked to that company. And therefore, you will need to contact us if that is the case. So upon getting onto the list of directors, you will select yourself. You are only able to change contact details of yourself as a director, no other director. I will then change the email address and the cell phone number. You will then click on save at the bottom. You are only allowed to change only those two things. After clicking save, you'll go to continue. You would then need to click on submit on this page. After clicking on submit, you will get an email on both the old email as well as the new email that we have just captured. And this email will have a link of either to approve the change or to object to the change. Let's just give it a few seconds. I hope I captured it correctly. So this change will also appear on the old email address. So we can see that the email was also sent to the new email address that I've just captured. I can see I made a spelling mistake. So that's why I didn't receive it on the new email address. So at this point, you are able to verify to say this is the current email. This is the new email address. This is the current cell phone number. This is the new cell phone number. So you are either able to object to this change by clicking on this link to object. You would then click on the reject button. So I'm not going to do that. It's going to terminate my application. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on the approval link. And it is important to note that you will not be requested for your customer code and password. If you get onto a page that requests for your customer code and password, then no, that is not the right process. So you will click on approve and just wait for it. Okay. Upon clicking approve, there is the next email that you will receive, which will indicate that your details have been verified. Then the next step is to wait for 24 hours for your contact details to be updated. In 24 hours, you will get an email similar to this one. Which will tell you that your contact details change has been completed. At this point, the application would then be on a completed status, and therefore your contact details would then be up to date on the CIPC database. I think that's it. Is there anything else you would like to see, colleagues?
Yeah, I think we will be guided by the questions, and then if there's something else, maybe let's respond to the questions. Then if we still have time and there's nothing written on the questions, then we can then indulge the colleagues. Okay, so like I said, and as it was mentioned earlier on, the webinar, it's about director amendments. Any other area, if I have information, I'll be able, but at high level, that needs to be verified on our website and contact the relevant department. If not, I will tell you. So how do I change shareholding? Shareholding, we must know that there's two things that are very important. Number one, it's authorized shares. So the company, when it is registered, it will have shares that are authorized for it to issue. That will be the maximum. So if you have 100 shares that are authorized, you cannot issue 110. You're only authorized to issue 100. So those are the shares that are belonging to the company, because the company is a separate legal entity. Issued shares, those are the shares that are issued from authorized. And these shares that are issued, they're issued to investors. Sometimes they're issued to employees. And therefore, when these shares are issued, they confer ownership to those people. So if then somebody wants to buy shares, then they have to buy the shares with the company, and there will be a legal process, and after that there will be a confirmation. So it's not a CIPC process. Thanks. And then morning, will you be able to touch on BE application? No, it's not within our area, BEE. But the education and training, I think they are noting it. Then they will speak to the division that deals with BEE. Then the next question, please explain how to complete a BEE, a BO app when directors are not also shareholders. However, the system keeps asking for the directors' shares to be, that is a BO also. I think the colleagues, they are noting so that the BO can be able to respond to this. We don't have an answer on the BO. And then the other one, in case of an incorporator, can you still be a director of an entity? And does change of a director become effective by application without considering the incorporator and shareholders of the registered private company? I'm not sure if I follow this, but the incorporator is the person that incorporates. It's a person that starts the company. That is the incorporator. The incorporator is the person that incorporates. Hence, you will never have a process of updating an incorporator. If you have incorporated a company, it is only you. Once an incorporator, you'll always be an incorporator. There's no way that you'll say, now I don't want to be an incorporator. You have already incorporated. Now, when you incorporate, when you register a company, you incorporate, the company will ask, who are the directors? So if as an incorporator, you're also a director, then yes, you can be a director of that particular company. Shareholders, as I've explained, shareholders are people that have been issued with the capital that has been authorized. So those are shareholders. By being issued with shares, then you confer the ownership, then you are called a shareholder. So a director becomes a director at the behest of the shareholders. He's appointed. So the director serves the interest of shareholders. So that's how I can answer this. I'm sure that that's what the question was asking. And then there's another one, Diniko asking, but few years ago, clients have access to update their contact details, but now it is difficult to update contact details online. Why? Yes. Now, I have explained in the past that clients, I'm not sure when you say clients, maybe you're talking about third parties. Third parties were updating contact details. Now, this was based on the fact that the companies or the directors or everyone who transact will transact on behalf of the company with an understanding that these people have the authority. And I said, when it comes to the contact details, it is not a legal process, an administrative process. We have observed third parties not providing the correct information of directors. And over and above that, we have been overtaken by events. There are legislation such as POPIA that talks to the protection of private information and all those things. So now when it comes to contact details, that is personal information that only a person must be able to change his contact details. How do we then try to protect that? By ensuring that we link the ID number of the transactor with the ID number of the director. That is the reason why now we are confining it to a director. And then, Nikki, if the third party has the mandate to do changes, why can't we update the contact details? We never said you can't. So if, for example, a person says, do it on my behalf, then the person will give you the rights to do it on their behalf. So the requirements that are needed for contact details, that person must give you. Remember, this is the arrangement between the two of you. As I've said, this is not a legislated process. This is an administrative process with this personal. So if you talk the two of you, then you must complete it, the two of you, and then finish it. Okay. NP Twala, have you identified the fraud threats influenced by politics and candidate deployment on your offices as officials, leading to leaking of company data, abuse in company protocol, and people using CIPC as a board member of a particular entity, including change of details portal, profile change in identify verification, errors as per DHA status? Who is doing this? Mind sharing to us, or should I investigate the issue deeper because it's you guys leaking the data? All right. Now, feel free to investigate, and feel free to lodge a complaint with CIPC if there's something that you know. What I can submit in terms of this, number one, is that CIPC, it is an organization that is responsible for, amongst other things, disclosure of information. And information that is submitted with CIPC, that information is for public domain. Any information filed for CIPC is for public domain. However, due to now the POPIA Act and other legislations, that is done within the confines of the legislations that is being there. In terms of politics or candidate deployment, we don't know anything. As I've said, CIPC does not make any appointments, does not make any resignations. CIPC receives applications and they just process them. And if there is anything that a member of the public or whoever feels that CIPC has done incorrectly, feel free to report, whether via our fraud unit, if there's something about that, and so forth. When it comes to the issues of information not being aligned with the DHA, maybe let me explain this. In terms of FATF, one of the requirements was to make it a point that there is a authentication of information. And how is that being done? Is that also to work with the relevant departments that are part of this, such as law enforcement, DHA, SARS, and all those things, Interpol, and all these things. Because one of the most important things that FATF also was trying to address and is trying to address is the issue of money laundering as well as terror financing. Now, some of these companies are being created as shell to do or to perpetuate some of these activities. So when we do verification, it is not a manual process. So when you log in into our website and then you type an ID number, and then it asks for information to do a verification. Our system sends the information to Home Affairs, and Home Affairs brings results. And if the results from Home Affairs are saying it is not congruent, those are the results that we get from Home Affairs. Even if you have a document or a proof that says, no, but this is what is written on my card, we are not doing this physically. It's something that we get it from Home Affairs, meaning that then the DHA has to correct what is on their system so that when they report to CIPC, it is in line. So CIPC cannot ask that information for you. You must go to Home Affairs and say, Home Affairs at CIPC, when I type this, it says incorrect, and according to my ID, this is what is happening. What we have seen in some instances is that what they have on their systems, it's not what it is recorded, maybe on the ID card, for an example, the date of issue. So those are the issues. And then Zile, we received a link that has someone was updating contact details for the director. We declined by clicking on the relevant link, and the details were still changed to an unlawful person who hijacked it. This is a specific case. Please send an email to vnkohla at cipc.co.za with the reference. Then we'll investigate and come back to you. We do not want to speculate what might have happened. We'll investigate and then we'll communicate with you what happened. But the system is not supposed to do that, as it was demonstrated. I deposited funds on my account. Now the funds do not reflect. It's not what we presented. It's on finance, and our team will take this one and then we'll refer to the relevant unit. How do we deregister again? This one, it's not the presentation. They will take this one and then send it to the relevant unit. Forward proof of payment. Okay, this is the same as the depositing of funds. They will take that one up. Changing of shareholders percentage. I have explained how shareholders work. This method is making it hard for us as company secretarial administrators because we can't update director information, and it makes director changes more difficult. As I've mentioned, the director amendments that are legislated, anyone does that. When it comes to contact details, it is the person. And if that person feels that he will give it to the company secretary administrators, it's fine. They will give it to them. So we are not blocking anyone, but what we are saying is that the process that we follow is that the filer, we verify if the filer is the same person. And it's very, very strange. And I deal with many of these. A person will file and said, we want to change the contact details for our client. The previous company secretary administrator did not do the right thing. Now, it's evident that probably these things, when they are fine, people, the relationship is fine. But when now it is sour, they said, no, this person did not do 1, 2, 3. We do not want CIPC to be part of that. The onus is on the directors. They must do the right thing. The very same way that as company secretary administrators, you never go to a bank and go and change the financial information at the bank to go and change there. It is only directors that will go there and do that at the bank. They don't even delegate that function in their busy schedule. So this one, it is a personal information we're giving to them. They must do it. If they decide that they will enlist the services, it's the relationship between you and them. Hello, we registered an external company and directors' contact details and email does not appear on the CIPC. Okay, Now, this one, what we have realized is that when there is a registration of these external companies, it's done manually, and then that is why then they do not capture the contact details. As I've mentioned, contact details is not a legislated process, and our forms don't have information of contact details. However, if this is the case, you are able, again, to follow the process that the directors, they can follow the process that Tebogo mentioned. If the contact details are blank, then they will submit the contact details there. Also, how do I apply for provisional patent? It's not what we were presenting. The colleagues will take it to the relevant unit. And then when can we have the co-op amendment digitized? I don't have the exact dates, but I know that they are working on that. The cooperatives unit. Change of directors for close cooperation. Again, close corporations does not have directors, but they have members. So companies and close corporations, they work differently. A director in a company is an employee. A member in a CC is an owner. So when you do a close corporation amendments, then the requirements are different, because now you have ownership of the close corporations, and the requirements, they are there to address, and they are communicated. They are on the website in terms of how you do it. So it's not the same. I have sent an application for a CC member change on 25 August, and up to now, the change hasn't finalized all supporting documents and the tracking number. Again, this is a special or a specific matter. We'll come back to it, but you can send an email so that we can attend to it. If I'm not able to get the response from the system whilst we are still in this webinar, but if we have managed to get access to this, then it will be fine. But for now, I have tested it. The reference number that you have registered there, it's an incorrect reference number. There's not that tracking number. It does not reflect. So just send an email for more details so that we can be able to follow up. But I've just copied that one and checked on the system. We do not have it. If you say the director changes will be automated, does that mean we won't need to upload the resolution, consent, or any other supporting documents relating to the board changes? All right. So I'm not saying the change of directors will be automated. It has been automated since 2023. It's automated. So if there is a resignation or an appointment, there are no supporting documents that are being filed. However, the company has the responsibility to keep the records of all the changes that are happening within the company as per the Companies Act. So that in the event that there is an investigation, they want to know how these things happened and all those things, then the company is able to provide that information. So yes, as we speak currently, if you are doing an appointment or resignation, there is no document that you attach. However, in terms of other changes, for an example, let's say there is a removal of a director. The Act provides that there are certain steps that must be done, there are certain documents that must be kept, and all those things. So for CIPC to confirm that the process as stipulated in Section 71 for removal has been followed, they will ask that you submit those documents. So you'll have to upload then those documents as part of the removal process. Okay, and then Alicia, how can I, as a third party, update director details without creating an account? I've mentioned it's not possible. You cannot update contact details of a director. It is the director concerned that must update his contact details. And how does it do that? He must have a profile. A profile. Creating an account at CAPC, it's for everyone. It's not for third parties. It's for everyone. Even a child that is at school that wants to know how things are happening at CAPC can create a profile to access our systems and check. So creating a profile, it's not something that it's a privilege of third parties. It is for everyone who transacts with CAPC and needs information. Others, they transact just for one activity, like for an example, if you're a student, you want to do a research. Others, they transact because it's their business, that is the third parties. Others, it's because of there's something that they have to do. But when it comes to change of contact details, the director must update his or her contact details. Okay, and then please advise why are the contact details of directors not captured by CIPC for manual incorporated? I've mentioned that that process is manual and the forms, they don't cater for that. However, they are working on automating that process. What one must do when their ID can't be verified, but they are the sole director. I'm not sure their ID can't be verified when they do what? And they are the sole director. Because when you're a sole director, you're a sole director. You are there as a director. So I'm not sure when you say their ID now can't be verified, when they do what. If you're still there, please expatiate. Hi, in terms of the external company, is it possible for a company secretary to be able to update contact details and the director and the external company? There's no difference. It's still the same. An external company, it is just a branch in South Africa. An external company, it's a branch. So there is no, and again, a company secretary, it is the person that has been appointed in terms of Section 85. It's not the person that files with CIPC. When you file, then no, it's a person that has been appointed. So what other people are doing as third parties, they are doing secretarial services. They are not a company secretary. Company secretary, it's a legal position that is it's appointed in terms of Section 85. So yes, director amendments is the same, whether it's a local company or it's company from another jurisdiction coming to South Africa. They have to follow that process. Why doesn't CIPC add contact details when we do manual? I think I've explained that. How can I deregister a company? Okay, they will take that one, deregistration. Manual registration of companies, why? Okay, it's the same. Okay, what are the implications for the company of the change of directors is not submitted within 10 business days? All right, so these are the implications. The implications would be that in the event that there's anything that a company has done and the directors are part of it and it is being challenged, the directors concerned in that company will not get the protection that the Act provides, which is separate legal personality. So in that event, the directors will be personally liable for the debts of the company if they have failed to fulfill their duties. I am disappointed in you as a department. That is the statement. I'm not sure why, but we'll appreciate if you can maybe expatiate. How do I cancel this message for director changes rejected, await rework? You can't cancel this message. As I've said, the submission of documents, it is not, or the submission of change, it is not something that starts with CIPC. So if you file with CIPC and say, for an example, a director A has been removed, and CIPC says, in terms of the act, when you do the removal, you must submit A. Now CIPC is waiting for you to resubmit that A. We can now say, let's cancel that application. No, that application did not start at CIPC. A process was done. So that process must be followed. So the company must ensure that it provides us what they said they have done. So submission of change of directors, it's not like let's go and test the waters. Hey, they query now, okay, cancel it, we are leaving it. It's not like that. This is a legal process that has been followed by the company. The company sits and the company decides to do this on their board. And when they have decided to do that, CIPC then will request where necessary certain confirmation, and that has to be complied with. Please assist. We have been trying to request for CIPC to assist to change contact details. We emailed, but still no reply. We are unable to. Okay. I think the step-by-step guide that was shown, the demo on how the contact details can be done, will assist. And then Terry, when I have the mandate, why I can't change the contact details? Okay. Again, the mandate, and I've explained, the mandate, it is the mandate from the company. Change of contact details, it is not a legislative. It is a administrative process for a person. And because of the laws of the country, then that is reduced to a person. So a person that is appointed by the company is appointed by the company to file the changes of the company. All right? A consent form or power of attorney should be integrated into the system to allow third parties to. I think this thing of third parties doing contact detail, I know that that's all that you want to do, and we are saying it is not something that will be given to third parties purely because of what or where we are coming from. The very same third parties that changed the contact details and made changes, and people came to CIPC, it went to court and all these things. And this is the culmination of all these things. So the change of contact details, I'm not saying all third parties are doing this thing, but it came from the third parties. No director said, listen, I've changed my contact details. Then after that, I did not receive the results. No, director said, I did not do this thing. And they were done by third parties. So that is why then a change of contact details. So unfortunately, it was one person or two people that they've made it damaged. And also there are laws now that they do not allow us to do that. Yeah, I think that's it, because all others, it's the same. What we must do when submitting ownership, I've explained that one. How to register an internal company or subsidiary. A company is registered as a company. There is no marriage within CIPC. Marriage happens outside when a company owns stake in a company, then it becomes a part of that company. So when you register, you just register normal company. Want to add my wife as a director, what must I do? Yes, the process of director amendments, I think that one was not explained, but is available on our website on the step-by-step guide. It's a seamless process. Then your wife will receive an OTP, and then she will have to confirm. Okay, kindly touch on the process to reverse a fraudulent transaction. Like I explained, when it comes to the company challenging a filing, the 168. But if it is a fraudulent matter, fraud, then it goes with the law agencies. So it must be reported at the SAPS. They will investigate fraud and all those things. But if the company decides that we want to remove the person, the company will remove the person as an unauthorized director that has been appointed, and they will provide us with the proof, and they will provide us that they are the rightful owners, meaning that they will attach a proof of shareholding and so forth. Manual incorporation. Yeah, this is the registration. I cannot carry on with the process. There is no option to upload or complete the process. It was rejected. Yes, please send the email to me. I see that you have been referring to Matako. Will follow up with him. I hope that Michelle Fori, also the email was Michelle Fori to communicate with Matako, but you can also send so that we can follow up with him. Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you so much. The time now it's 11. Over to you, Prasai. My email address, it is, maybe let me see if I can write on the chat. This thing says I must connect. Rodzane, how do I write my email address on the chat? Rodzane? Prasai? Okay, I'm trying to assist myself, but it is vingotla@cipc.co.za.
Yeah, I've put it on the projected.
Pardon?
I've projected it.
Oh, you have projected my email address.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thanks. Okay, all right. Is Prasai still there? Mr. Fenyan?
Yes. Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Over to you. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Ngotla, Mr. Masakale, and the team. With that, brings us to the end of today's webinar. We hope you found the session valuable and that it will be useful for you going forward. Thank you for joining us and have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.